Okay, madam, good morning and welcome to my podcast, Your Facilities Management Marketplace. And I really appreciate you taking a time on a Friday morning. That is a busy day and coming to talk to us. So we know who you are. I know who you are, probably, and a lot of people know. But just to begin with, can you just give a brief about yourself? Then we'll start.
Sure. Thanks, Wilson. I really appreciate being here. And I firstly don't believe, that we are sitting across like this and doing a podcast. Yeah, because never thought this day that, we'll be sitting like this and having a chat over the mail and trying to have a podcast. So thank you very much for inviting. Appreciate. So basically, my name is Ashwini Valavalkar. Currently, I'm the CEO for a company called TCFM. I've been in this domain of facility management almost more than 25 years now, and has been always into hotel industry. So I started my career with Taj Group of Hotels and moved on to a company which was then that time a small facility management company or a cleaning company to call. And from there, it moved on to become a facility management company. Been with them for almost 21 years and then moved on to this company in Bangalore, based in Bangalore, now with them for last 3 years. So yeah, that's my journey so far.
Okay, great journey. Before I go to the discussion, I still remember when I came to Cleantech, you are the first person who interviewed me. And I was coordinating with Belinda, and the first interview that happened is with you, then simultaneously with Jolly sir and then Rajgopal sir. And I really want to thank you for that, because if you would have rejected me that day, I would have not been in this industry. Really, thank
I
you for
don't know,
that.
so you are happy about it or no,
No,
but
no, I'm extremely happy because this is what was written for me. I need to be here. So I first of all, I really like working with people, and this is the industry which gave me the opportunity to work with people, and not only one people. I have people,
people, so
mass,
many people,
so many.
mass.
Yeah. So thank you for that. Okay,
I
so you
think, Wilson, you have done really well for yourself and you did a great job. So I think, yeah, in facility management, you stand out to be a great operator and a good, leader. So yeah, I mean, it's great.
whatever I learned from industry is from all of you, Mr. Brito and Olizab, and then a lot of other leaders, then who came, and also I was fortunate to work with a lot of good CEOs. Like I worked with Jolly sir, then Purvin Patel, then Aksh. So fortunate enough to work with these people who I got to learn. So, madam, I just want to know one thing. You are working with an hotel. Hotel is a glamorous industry. To be very fair, we know both sides how tough is also to work in a hotel, but it's a very very charming industry. People want to work for hotels, right? You are always there in a five-star property. You work with people, like-minded people who are from the background. You know, then but then coming to this cleaning industry, so I'm talking about 25 years back. When you go beyond 25 years, people would not know what is facilities management. All the names, these new names have come: facilities management, workplace management, and I don't know, it will keep evolving. So what enticed you to come to this cleaning industry mainly? And that point of time, when it was not even recognized as an industry, what really made you think to come from, you know, heaven, where you're working as in Taj, and to ground, I would say rather. Yes.
So, Wilson, when I joined Taj, that was a graduate trainee program which the hotel industry had started because I think it was that time also getting tougher to get hotel management employees. So, they had started this graduate trainee program. And like you rightly said, even being young that time, I really thought that it's some very glamorous job and staying in the hotel and, getting to see a lot of celebrities and in the posh atmosphere. So all that thoughts even I had that time. When I entered into the industry, okay, I must tell you honestly, it's one of the toughest industry that I have known, hotel industry. Behind all that glamour that is there, there's a lot of hard work. There's a lot of patience that you need dealing with people, managing people, and I think I really learned a lot of tricks of the industry that we are in today from the hotel industry. So definitely, it looks very glamorous from outside. like a film industry. People only go and see that 3 hour cinema, but we don't know what happens behind. I think hotel industry is very much like that, and yeah, I enjoyed being there in the that industry also. And coming to this cleaning industry, so yes, today we know facility management, property management, a lot of names, multinational companies that have come in. That time that was nowhere there, nobody knew. It was basically called as something called as contract housekeeping or cleaning companies. And I was into housekeeping department of Taj, and I was approached by Mr. Jolly, who was then the CEO for clean tech company, and he was looking for somebody who could train their employees, something like how the training is given in the five-star hotels in housekeeping. So I thought that is a great opportunity, because whatever I had learned, I thought I can utilize that. And also we were working in a very tough atmosphere there. A lot of shift timings were there. So I thought, okay, this is a great opportunity, I should look into it, not knowing what I'm entering into, and not many companies that I could evaluate that time. So jumped into it, and never thought that that's going to be the career for lifetime, being in this industry.
Yeah, exactly. I think very good reply, and really like that because, as you said, every industry has its own pros and cons,
Yes.
right? But again, when I talk about 25 years back, when
Hmm.
when this outsourced cleaning or contract cleaning was just getting recognized, or people were coming to that outsourcing pattern. Initially, also there were hesitant where people don't know why should they outsource when they started realizing the benefit of outsourcing. That is how this outsourced act or maybe activity started, and cleaning was also one of them. Then slowly,
Correct.
slowly they started also understanding outsourcing technical services. Security was always there because security was always an outsourcing
Yes.
company, but cleaning and these things were starting. Good. So, you over the period of so many years, you've been in this almost now 25, 26 years now. This
No, I've been in this industry now more than 3 decades. So
more
it's
than 3 decades. I think almost your lifetime.
almost my lifetime.
Good. So, you have when I joined Cleantech, you went from hotel to Cleantech, then clean multiple roles in Cleantech, then in ISS, multiple roles in ISS, then L&D, HR, then also you ran a largest account for the company, as an account director for so many years.
Yes.
So how did all this, how did you were able to manage the different roles, and how, do you really enjoyed it? Or it was you just took it because it was given to you, or you really enjoyed, and how it all the journey of from hotel to cleantech to then to the ISS, then different roles, and now what you are doing presently.
Correct. So I would rather say, yeah, I really enjoyed what I have been doing. There is no what you call, lazy movement or slow movement in momentum in the whole journey that I have. And I think whenever that momentum went a little slower, okay, I used to always feel that let's take up some other challenge. So my reason for, and sometimes when I tell people that I worked for this previous company for 21 years, so they were like, oh my God, what were you doing like for 21 years there? And then I think I did at least nothing less than 10 to 11 different roles in that organization. And I must thank the organization, because it had that potential and it gave that growth. Because I think any people who leave their companies, normally they leave because of the growth or any challenges that they don't get. And when you have your career become stagnant, so I think I got a great opportunity to learn right from when I entered in clean tech, from training to operations, managing a region, to L&D, some part of HR. So I think every gamut of business that I could do inside FM, I think I got to explore everything. Except I think I didn't do professionally any finance role. Apart from that, I think I played all the roles. So that really helped me in my career. So today I could take up this role in TCFM was basically because of all this different. So I think any job that you take up or any role that you take up that pays you definitely.
Yeah, so I will not say officially you did manage finance because finance is part of
Business.
business, and yeah, but the other as core finance, so definitely, but
Yes.
we run. the business finance in any role. Okay,
Correct.
ma'am, you said you were did 10 to 12 different roles.
Mm.
So which role was the most challenging and which role was the most enjoying?
Okay, so I think I'll first go with the enjoying one. Okay, so I really enjoyed my role as in learning and development.
All
Okay,
right.
because I think that was something which came to me very naturally. The people who knew me in operations, okay, so I had this somebody who told me that till now, you have been like, somebody who was a lion or a tiger, who's roaming in your own area, and now you are going to be somebody who's like a ringmaster who has to now tame the tiger also. Okay, so that was really tough from from the operations role, and I'm sure you will understand that very well, that operations is a very aggressive role. You're completely on your toes, and now you have to sit across, and that aggression you have to bring it down. The person who is in aggression, you have to tame those people. So I think that was one of the very enjoyable job, and I really enjoyed that role very much. Challenging, I think, among all my roles that I did, my role in one of the largest account that I managed in the banking field, that I think was my most challenging one. Challenging because I think after a long time, almost 7 to 8 years, being in the back office doing learning and development or HR, talent acquisition, talent management, you're doing something which is more for the employees. Now you're back into the business. You're into, where it's a global account. Everybody's eyes are on that account because it is one of the best accounts for the company. So everybody has a view. So you're continuously under the scanner. Then you are managing multiple businesses. I mean, it's not only cleaning or security or catering, you name it, and that services were provided. The bank employees were only coming to that account. So, and then there was a time when there was a new campus that they were coming up with. So you had that additional thing, and then the COVID entered. So I think this all put together, it was a challenging job.
Yeah. So that part was extremely challenging. And I know being a global account, the compliances and governances and all
Government.
expectation of the customer have to be managed very well. Okay,
Correct.
so out of this role, ma'am, how does you think it is helping you in this year new role? Because you said you are a ring master now, and right. So how is it helping you, and what is that changed your behavior, from a tiger to a ring master? I'm sure you're still a tiger from inside or a ring master outside. What is that changed your behavior? What is that? What is that one maybe leadership skill you adapted that you have been able to do this role?
So let me put it like this. I had this thought of always, trying to do everything with perfection.
Yeah.
I will not call myself as a perfectionist, but trying to do at least with maximum perfection that I could do it. And I used to expect the same thing from my teams as well. So, and if they are not able to do it, okay, leave it. Let me do it. So you cannot run the organizations like this. Okay, organization is not run by one person. You have to have teams. You have to have great people who are working with you, like-minded. Where your visions and thought processes match. I think there is where I think this whole role that I played in the L&D, or I could say the versatile roles that I played, where sometimes I was in charge of a business, sometimes I was in charge of people. So I think, with all this putting together, what I could acquire the best from all these roles, I could put that into my current role, build a good organization, which can be known to the industry, which can progress in the industry, and then building teams and getting the best of it. So when you have done certain mistakes, what is the experience? It is all that mistakes that you have done. You ensure that you don't repeat those mistakes and you do something better out of those. So I think that has been, my learnings from all the roles that I played.
One thing, and then great. One thing you said is very profound, ma'am. I think perfection is the biggest enemy of productivity, right? So, in the gist of being a perfectionist, you always try to overdo things, because there is never a perfect moment anytime. You just have to, if you have done 70 to 80% also, then you move on, then probably that remaining 20% will naturally come and or at that point of time you will not know how to do that, but when you give some time more, right, then the thing starts evolving, and then that memory starts coming back, and then you start further working and refining it. But if you wait when it is perfect, then only I will start, or I will do, or I will launch. So for example, when I started this company, people said, no, there are a lot of things that you need to do. This is not what will work, or that will not work. But believe me, I said no. I know what I'm doing, and I just launched the product in the month of January. And believe me, the kind of response I got, and people are inquisitive to know what I do. By
Yeah.
what is this? What do you do? I said, this is what I do. I want to bring the industry together, and we need to learn to coexist. We need to learn to work. So good, ma'am. I think it's a great thing. You actually have decided, maybe the ringmaster has said no. Perfection should not be the road showstopper. We need to move on, right? And also other probably like we tend to also look at people when you people say when you hire someone, you always try to look at your character in the other person's character when interviewing, but you should also be able to adapt, or probably accept the traits that the person will bring, a new person will bring a new trait. Thanks for that.
If I have to just add to that, Wilson, over the years, what I have learned is that you should definitely not bring in, exactly, of course, the like minded and the thought is correct, but, not the personality that you are, you should start looking at in every team member. So if you
Yes.
have your core 5, 6 team members, okay, everybody should be very different from each other. Then there is a challenge because everybody's thoughts will be different, the viewpoint will be different, and then what we will do will be something which will be really worth knowing and seeing. Otherwise, if everybody is thinking in the same lines, okay, if everybody fails, it's a failure. If everybody wants to succeed, maybe or may not be, but it is very good if there are people who looks at all the pros and cons. I think that helps.
Everyone cannot be batsman. We also need bowlers, we need
Ballers,
keepers,
fielders.
fielders. Great. Ma'am, now since this new role and the new company, what is your vision for the company? What is that you want to do? How we can, and what are the challenges in this industry largely? And how are you looking at those challenges?
So, Wilson, firstly, talking about the challenges, I think, you also know it very well that this industry is run by people. Okay, we talk about technology, we talk about equipment, high tech machineries, everything definitely is required. But to run everything, we need people. And and getting good people, talent, and then retaining those people has been the biggest challenge of this industry. And this has not been like today, it has been uh, over the years, in different ways and in different forms. I think post COVID, it has become all the more challenging, especially, with people going back to their homes. Some of them not wanting to come back. A lot of people opening their own companies and startups. I think everybody feels, we can do a startup in their own. Yeah. So likewise. so so I think everybody is working towards that. So more and more the employment is becoming a challenge to get the right people, train them, keep them, retain them has become a challenge. My company or our organization is no different to that. We also face definitely this challenge. Coming to our, what are our plans for this company? I would put it like this. We are very at a very nascent stage, I would say, because we have huge giants from the multinationals to some of the big Indian companies that are there in the market with 10,000, 50,000, 25,000 people. There are huge companies which are there. And as you know, in India, we have both organized as well as unorganized sector. So it is a challenge. I think last 3 years that I have been, our focus has been to come out in the market, because predominantly this company was or is, I would say, the core of this business is to maintain the properties of the embassy group. That is why this whole business was started. So that remains our first and most important, what you call, business outlook. But then when we were allowed to go out in the market, we had to create our own identity, not being that, okay, this is only a company which is a embassy group company, but yes, they can have a stand on themselves. more than being only a manpower company, how we can be looked as a facility management company. And I think in this last 3 years, that is what we have built as a team together. That we are out in the market now. We are counted when we are called for any RFPs or bids. We are among the top 10 FM companies in India which are called for big bids also. So I think that's a great thing that we have done over last 3 years. But I think it's very still, I would say we are at a very baby steps in all this, and we have got a great growth plan. Also keeping in mind that embassy is also growing, so we have to balance both,
Yeah.
and we have to grow the company.
Great. Good. You said you've been with this company for last 3 years, So what are the achievements you are really proud of, in this company that you have really think about it and feel that proud moment, this is what I've done.
Yeah, so like I just said, in this last 3 years, I think changing from the look and feel of this company, including how the employees were that time. It, like I said, it was predominantly a manpower supply company for Embassy Group. So the FM part was lacking. So we build in this whole touch and feel, where we can go out in the market. So first we had to do a lot of back end work. So then after that, I had to ensure, I have the right leadership team. So then
Yeah.
getting the right leadership, good people from the market, ensuring, they can add a lot of value to the company, because it was almost like a startup company for me. Though that time we had almost 6.5 to 7,000 people when I started in 22. And in last 3 years, I think, like I said, we have been able to go out in the market. We have been able to get back some very good contracts, to name, some of the big multinational companies, or including, working with good IPCs that we have started with, and also some big Indian brands that we are working with. We have, almost more than doubled our revenue as well as people count in last 3 years. And also, the biggest achievement is, I feel, that people are looking now to join TCFM. So, which company, when I joined, I'll be very honest, I didn't know what this company or name of this company was. I only knew there was an embassy group. I didn't know what TCFM was all about. But now today, when I talk to my talent acquisition team, they know what TCFM is. They know what, even the clients know when they say TCFM. Okay. So I think that's an achievement that we have been able to bring visibility in the market for ourselves.
Well, I think when you say in the last 3 years you have doubled the growth, so it's almost 100% growth. Big achievement. And also, since you said when the RFP or the call out happens for new bidding, so you are on the top 10 bidder. This is also a very good sign, because sometimes we don't know when the RFP comes and when the contracts are awarded also. So being on the table is also a big sign, whether you win or don't
That's
win,
another thing.
that's
Correct.
irrelevant, but at
Correct.
least you are there on the table for the discussion.
Correct. Yes.
That's a very, very good thing,
Yeah.
Good. Ma'am, I just want to know because, being a lady, right? I will not say this because I'm running, this large company, and mostly in FM industry, I think we need to invite more diversity, more people. We want more women joining this company at leadership roles and take more prominent positions and because I think the delivery needs, when it comes to mainly this industry, we need more diversity. What is your take on this, ma'am, on diversity? And
So
how are you
on
promoting it? Sorry, how are you promoting it in DCFM also?
Yeah, so we have definitely put in our KRAs, where diversity and inclusion has to be there. So we are
Yes.
not only talking about, having male versus female, but are we talking about even the third gender, or, even people with special ability, all those people we are trying to. Now, our challenge here happens is that because, as our business is all dependent on our client. So if
Yes.
that is the agenda of our client, or we can convince our client to make that as their agenda, which
Yes.
most of the companies have now started, helps us to do that, and help the society also in turn to give employment to these people. Because Wilson, our industry is basically, where which is least glamorous. Okay, nobody is interested in joining on their own.
Yeah.
It's not like you rightly said in the beginning. Facility management is not something after, I think, now that we have been in this industry for more than 3 decades. Also, I still feel every time we go and tell anybody, okay, you're working for a facility management, so what is that facility management? People start with that. So it's difficult still for us to make them understand. So that doesn't become by option as a career option for any employee or sorry, any individual. So neither our colleges have those curriculum, or so it's difficult for us. So leave alone, females coming in this industry, male are also not coming by choice. Now coming to females, yes, being a tough industry, I don't think people are coming here again. We have to push really our clients as well as our employees. So when I say clients, there are a lot of roles, or every role on the floor also, which females can do. But we have that mindset, especially in India, where we definitely want only males to be on that floor, or if it's a night shift, then females should not be there. These are some of the mindsets which, as a client, we have to make the clients understand that this is a mindset and we have to come. Because if you go in some of the southern part of India, especially if you go to Chennai, you will see there are mostly females who are available to do the jobs. Completely opposite is there in when you go in somewhere in north.
Yes.
Okay, there is very difficult to get female employees. So I mean, if I have time, I just wanted to quote one example. We started one account somewhere in Jodhpur. Okay, and it was a very remote location, and we had to get ladies also, because there were ladies washrooms, and there was areas where ladies were required. Now these ladies came, and they had the sari wearing a pallu which is covering their face also.
Yes.
Okay, so we can't see their face also, and now we are asking them that you have to wear a shirt and a trouser and a cap and all those things. I mean, we are right now at that stage still in India, where this is so tough, where we have to convince people that okay, you can wear a normal uniform. I mean, and then there is, then the religion will come up, or caste will come up, and so many things. So it's not going to be easy after, I think, almost this 20-25 years also. We are still trying to find identity for FM as a company. Gender definitely is a challenge. It's a tough industry. It's a male dominated industry. We must agree to that. And for some reason, there are female mindsets only. I'm not blaming men here. The females themselves have got this limitation that I will not work in shifts, or what my family will stay. So it's very convenient to do a office job, is where the mindset is. So it's basically all about, breaking the mindset.
Yeah, I completely agree on that. I still remember we when we were mobilizing some sites in some parts in Gujarat, we had this sarpanch
Mm.
coming to coming to us and telling, no, no, you can't tell them to wear pants, shirts, and all. I said, no, at least there should be some uniform to recognize them. They're working in this specific service. Then we finally agreed, let them wear sari. We will give them one shirt and one apron. At least that can be worn above over the sari. That's how we finally, and because see, we also need female sometime because of the some limitation. Boys cannot go everywhere. We need washrooms and all has to be managed. So finally, the Sarpanch was happy, the client was happy. We had a win-win situation, and then we had to start the work. So
Yeah.
good, ma'am. I think you're right. We need to create that thought. First of all, as I say in all my podcasts, this industry, though we know because we are from the industry, but outside the world, no one knows what is FM industry. So
Correct.
what do you do? So we need to double click and say, okay, facility management is consist of all these activities. You know what? Because you see every day this the activity, but you don't. Then you go to a mall, you feel the air quality or the coolness inside that mall, the security, the cleaned washroom, the fragrance. But who is doing that? This is done by us. You go enjoy the mall. If the mall is hot, the cleaning is not good, the washroom is stinky, and the cafeteria is all of muck. Will you ever go to that mall? No, because we make that happen as an industry. That is what we are proud of. doing it. So yeah, very good. And how is there any privilege or is there any agenda that you drive? Because what is your USP to attract talent, ma'am? Because talent is always a crunch in this industry. When I say talent, I'm talking about at all level. How are you? Do you have a different messaging for every category of people who you want to are joining, or you how what is the USP? Why should someone join TCFM? When we have so many companies.
Correct. So, as you rightly said, there is nothing different that we are doing from other companies. Our services remains the same. Okay. Like in my initial discussion, I told you, Wilson, any people who leave the company, mostly they leave because of, yeah, money definitely is the biggest motivator for anybody to leave, but it is also about the growth. So you have to identify people who are really really a talent, okay, plus they are ready to take this additional leap. Of course the money will follow, but then if you cannot expect that in the same job that you are doing and you continue doing it, so are you able to give growth to employees? So that's something which we definitely drive here in TCFM, that we are not only deploying the talent, or we are just not giving them jobs. Are we able to give them careers? Are we able to drive that through growth, which is sustainable for the employee, good for. So it's a, like you said, win-win situation. Is it win-win situation for me as an organization and for them as an employee? Are they able to do it? So I think if and all this is built on something, where you have to drive the culture right. So if the culture becomes that, yes, that everybody is looking at growth, because what happens is sometimes people do not want their team members to grow for the simple reason that that's their comfort, okay, not anything else but their comfort, because if this person, because and then they want that people to stay in that same site or same location, but if that person doesn't grow, he will leave the company. So it's
Yeah.
better you give them the growth. This is something which we definitely drive. So other things remain almost the same: the benefits, the initiatives that we take, paying them on timely basis, addressing their grievances, trying to have maximum employee connect. So we have
Yes.
employee connects at all level. So
Yes.
including even me going on the site or me meeting some of the talents in my office is something which we drive, so that everybody feels that there is a connect happening at all levels, which is very important.
Agree. Yeah. So you absolutely that's the important thing. All organizations are the same, but how you look at your employee differently and how do they perceive you is very important. And I consider four aspects of anyone to be in the organization, or to stay in the organization. If if someone is contemplating to resign or move out, so people should consider these four aspects. First is money. अगर कोई बोलेगा no, money is not primary for me, then he should go and work for an NGO probably, and some charitable organization. Money is definitely very important aspects, right? End of the day, you have to earn,
First,
you have to also live, you have to save. Money is needed. Second is growth, lateral, horizontal, or vertical, whichever growth. You should keep looking for avenues and opportunities for that. If you feel there is some opening that you feel fit can give you growth, maybe you get more responsibility in the present role, I will say don't lose that opportunity. Keep looking for it. There are always some growth keep coming. There is no harm in going and speaking to your manager or the team, HR team. This is what is coming. Can I be given this additional role, or can I look into this role? Third is learning. You should, the day you stop learning in your organization or the current role, there is nothing to learn. Learning is also equally important. Otherwise, as you said, stagnation, then saturation comes to a
comes
lot.
in. Yeah.
Fourth is appreciation, right? You said you meet people once in a month, you meet key people, you meet all of them. When you go to the site, you appreciate people. This, if any of this thing is not there, then probably that is the reason when people start thinking something different, something,
Different.
let's move out, or then
Agreed.
yeah. So this is what I feel, ma'am. And you said this industry is still not glamorous. This industry is still very challenging. So what advice will you give to someone who's want to start his journey in this industry or career in this industry?
So I think though it's challenging, I think it's a great industry to work for. This is my very personal to me. I think for the youngsters or whoever thinks of coming to this industry, I think they have two aspects to keep in mind. Firstly, they should remember they need to really have a brave heart.
Yeah.
Okay, it's a tough industry. Okay, so you should be ready to be always on your toes, available 24/7. Okay, you may have your festivals, you may have your personal commitments, but still, your client will always remain first, and of course your employees. So you should be available all the time for both client as well as for employees. And so definitely you need to have a brave heart, because you have to then manage your personal and professional life in this whole aspect at a very young age. And second is you also have to have a very kind heart. When I say brave and kind heart because it's all about people. This industry will not work if you don't have people. So you'll have robots, you'll have all this AI and equipments and technology coming in, but you definitely need people at the end of the day. And because the services will happen only through people. So ensuring that you get people, you train them, and you retain them for a longer time, as long as you can, because everybody will want to have growth and you will have certain limitations. But look at people with a heart, okay, and not with your mind or brain. So because it's end of the day, you're dealing with people. So I think whoever wants to come to this industry, if he has a kind heart, as well as he's able to be brave enough to take some tough calls and be in this industry, I think they have a great career or great future here.
Yeah. So agree, because end of the day, we all are people manager. People management is the primary skill we need to look at when coming to this industry. Right? And the right attitude, skills can be taught. And but if you don't have the right attitude, you spoke about professional and personal life. I want to know from you, how do you manage your professional and personal life? Where do you bring the balance?
Yeah, it's a tough question, Wilson. And maintaining that balance, sometimes you're really on that, thin wire where you don't know which side you are. Sometimes you have to manage both. I think I would say I have been lucky enough to be able to manage it so far. And for that, I think, a lot of credit goes in my personal front. It definitely goes to my family, because you definitely need to have a good understanding family, as well as who understands your career and your job type. It's not a office job where you'll just go and come back, or you're working on a computer. No, you're dealing here with people, with issues, with challenges every now and then. So the family understanding the your job profile is very important. Second is the support system. So who's taking care of your house, in your absence, is also
Yeah.
equally important. Being a lady, I have to ensure that my house is also running well in my absence.
Yes.
So that is also very important. And I think on the profession, and the last thing I would say is, how do you are able to do switch on and switch off. So when you are at work, how can you leave your house things at house, and how you focus on your work? And when you come back to the house, are you able to switch off from there? You cannot switch off completely.
Yeah.
In both the cases, something will play on your mind. But are you able to give the right time and right focus, or you're wasting too much of your office time doing your personal work, and at proper home you're trying to do your office work? Then that balance is never going to happen. So that 8 hours, 9 hours, or maybe even 12 hours that you're working in office, are you able to complete what you have thought, or what you have come, that to-do list otherwise stays where it is in the morning, and you end up doing something else.
Yeah,
So
exactly. The laundry list will never end, ma'am. You know,
yeah,
so someone said, right, if you have 2 hours to complete a task, you'll definitely do it in 2 hours.
yeah,
If you give more time, then you can not even complete that in 20 hours, right? Is that okay? So I know, being a CEO running such large organization, some of the days would be good days, some of the days would be not so good days. You sometimes you go home very happily, smiling, coming out of the office. I have achieved what I wanted to. Some of the days you will come out little, stressed, and that is keeping in your mind. Then you take that at home. So how you manage that stress? What is your biggest stress buster?
okay. So I think nowadays, that stress is a very loosely used word, and it has like become a part of our body. That stress is living with us. So everybody is under stress. You ask the students also, they will also say we are under stress. You know, the elders are also, retired people are also under stress, working people are also under stress. So yeah, but yes, there are some days which are really tough days, and some are good, okay days. So on those tough days, I think, you know, the biggest stress buster that I have is once I come back home, I have to put my switch off, you know, and I have to leave something outside the door and come inside the house, because that stress I cannot give it to my family and my spouse or my kids. So the first thing is that I try to unwind myself by getting into something that I want to cook. So I get into the kitchen and I try to start cooking something, because that's my natural stress buster. So I start engaging into that cooking activity where I start forgetting what I'm doing. I think over the years, I think just before the COVID, sometimes maybe now 6 7 years, I have been doing a lot of yoga and meditation. That really helps me, you know, to be mentally very strong.
Mm.
So where you really need to have that balance, because whatever stress is coming in, neither you can give it to your people who are below you,
Yes.
because they all are looking up to you. You cannot tell them, oh, I am stressed now, you know, I am not happy or something, and now I'm going to make you all unhappy. That won't happen. You have to keep motivating them. One trick that I have learned is, now, you know, people have a lot of that reels and Instagram and all that. I don't watch that. I'm not into it. But I have some very cute videos, you know, which will make me instantly laugh. And when you laugh or smile, you know, your brain thinks everything is okay. It doesn't get stressed. So I have learned that trick. I've saved some of those videos. Whenever I feel I'm under stress, I look at that videos and come back to my normal.
Great. Happy to also look at those videos if we have can share with me.
Sure, I will.
Because running a startup is, I will say again,
Stressful.
not because you're doing everything on your own, and
Yeah.
every day you need to do something differently to keep the audience and your consumers happy.
Yes.
Last questions, ma'am, to ask you. All these years, what is that one thing you're really very proud of? You always, remember that as an achievement, as a memory, that makes you very happy.
This is very personal, Wilson, but I'm happy to share it with you. That, you know, we spoke about my journey, okay,
Yeah.
and this journey had not been very easy, okay. From, I'm not talking from the professional aspect, but from my personal aspect.
Yeah.
And basically, because, you know, I came from a very middle class Maharashtrian family, conservative Maharashtrian family. So, of course, you know, you're a girl, so you get your graduation done, and then you will go for some banking job or some teaching job, you know, which was a very traditional way of looking. I mean, nothing wrong what
Mm.
my parents thought, because that's what everybody thought that time. And I think I broke that whole thing. I got into hotel industry against all the odds. You know, I had a lot of backslash from everybody. More than my parents, it was others who were more interested in knowing what's happening in my life. So there, there was a complete backslash. And I think today, when I look back and look at my journey, you know, it has been tough, but it has been extremely rewarding in my own personal way. I'm not comparing it with anyone. I'm comparing it with myself. So what I started with and where I have reached till now, there's more to do. But of course, whatever I have done till now, I think I'm happy about that whole journey and the whole process that has happened. There are a lot of people, you know, there's my family, there's my friends, there are my colleagues, you know, some of you who have been a part of this journey. And I think all of them made this possible. So I think that overall journey I feel as a great achievement for myself.
Exactly, exactly. And as you said, now there are always these four people who will say something, but we don't know what those four people actually.
Correct. You cannot get bothered with
चार
them.
लोग क्या कहेंगे,
वो
क्या
चार लोग क्या कहेंगे?
Yeah, yeah. But end of the day, when I also wanted to come out of my, people said, "अरे क्या कर रहा है, boss? What you're trying to do? You have a daughter who's studying, you have a family commitment and your responsibilities and all." But I said, let's take a plunge. Let's
Correct.
see. Right? Unless you don't believe in yourself, who else will believe in you? Right?
Correct.
So that's what also you did. You had that conviction. Okay, why should I go to bank? Why should I become a teacher? There are also more professions, and that is how your conviction said, "Hey, take this hotel industry as a career," and then it paved a lot of paths for you today where you are. At least
Correct.
you started in that journey, right? Somewhere.
Correct.
So we are really proud of you, ma'am, and actually, is a great example of success stories. You know, when someone will talk about success stories, so probably you will be one of them. And we are proud of you. I'm sure you should also you and your family will also be very proud of you. And one last question, ma'am. You know, let's assume Ashwini Valavalkar now has to give advice to young Ashwini Valavalkar. You know, what one advice you would give to young Ashwini Valavalkar?
Yeah, this is a good question. I'm just thinking, what going back and trying to think what that could be. I think, Wilson, I started at a very young age of my career. So I started very early. So in the career, and because of that, I think I missed out on lot of things that I could have done at that age instead of trying to start working. I mean, it was not that I had to earn money, so I had to join a job. Now, when I look back, I think two things which I would definitely like to talk to a younger Ashwini, maybe 30 years back, is I think everything has to be done on time. So instead, if it is not a compulsion that you have to start working, if it's not something which is really a concern, I think people should take time. They should enjoy their life when they are students, when they're, now a lot of people do an apprentice or an interns, so they should enjoy what they are doing, explore a lot of things. Just, don't go with the flow always, but you should explore a lot of different openings that are there. Just because my parents said I want to be an engineer, so I became an engineer, or I felt the doctor profession is good, so I went into. There are so many professions, so look at and explore. And second is, I would say, I had still got, though I say that I took all these challenges, I still felt, that self belief came in me after a very long time. Or there were, some moments when I thought, or some people who gave me that feeling, Ashwini, yes, you can do it. So if I would have believed myself much earlier that yes, whatever I'm doing and whatever I've been taking up, I can do much better in that. You do not need anybody's approval. You do not need a approval certificate from somebody else. You have to have that conviction and your thought process very clear, that what steps I'm taking that will help me. So I think that conviction and self belief, if you have, I think everybody can be successful.
Yeah, yeah, very profound one. I think very good answer. And self-belief is very important that we know, and you have that in you. That is the reason you are here today. And in case you would have not gone to Taj, so where you think you would, which industry you would be working today?
So basically, that's a very funny thing, when I was in my 10th standard, okay, and I did really well in my board exams. For some reason, I don't know what was the reason that time, but I always wanted to be an engineer. Okay,
Acha.
so I went and took admission also. You must be knowing this college called as VJTI, okay,
Yeah.
in
Badala.
Matunga. Yeah, Vadala Matunga. So that college I got, and I got also admission. But then for some reason I didn't go and join it. I went to commerce because all my friends went there. Nobody came for engineering. So then I felt, oh, then what will I go and do alone? I won't be able to enjoy. I changed my track, but I think that was a good thing. Now I have more than 3,500 or 4,000 engineers working for me. I would have been one among them. So I think this has really been a
Yes. Yes, very nice. And I said last question, but I'll just end up with one more question. That is, what are your hobbies, ma'am? What do you like to do in your free time?
Okay. So free time is yet to happen. I'm thinking, I'll retire sometime.
Yeah,
Yeah,
understand.
but whenever I get free time, I think I definitely like to read books. I read a lot of management books, self-help books. I like to read them. Like to read, go through a lot of good videos, which are again, very motivating videos,
Like
where
this
you
one.
learn, huh?
Like this one.
Like this one. And of course, like I said, cooking has been one of my hobby. I think, and my stress buster also. So for some reason, I don't know, I like to do that. Apart from that, in my very initial stage, I was into classical dance, and I think someday once I retire from this corporate world. Okay, I would like to go back to those days and pursue that for a little longer time.
Great, great, good, good to know that you also dance. We have never seen
Not
that.
now, not now.
We will also wait for that day when we can see you. Maybe. Okay. Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. I had a very interesting discussion with you. Really enjoyed this conversation. I don't know about you. How much did you like? But yes,
Definitely enjoyed.
enjoy, and
Definitely
I'm
enjoyed.
very sure my viewers will also be very happy to see you and learn from you and also the advice that you have given, right? And we will meet up whenever possible, maybe in Bangalore or Mumbai. Till then, take care and give my regards to Sir and Raj, both of them.
Sure. Thank you so much, Wilson. I really enjoyed, and I think you are doing a great job by putting all this facility people in a marketplace. So I'm sure you'll do well. So best wishes to you and your new venture.
Yes, thank you so much, ma'am. Thank
Thank
you.
you.